This is your advanced class, and we're very happy to have our special guests with us again today who are visiting us from Europe. So stay tuned as they join us in 6 little-known European destinations. Welcome, everyone. Here we are ready to continue our travel throughout Europe, going to little-known places. And we're so happy that we have Ted and Dawn Siemens with us. Isn't it nice having them here with us today, Albert?
Yes, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
It was so nice to have you on the program again, because Ted used to do radio programs when he was here with us many years ago.
I used to sit in this studio many hours.
The same studio. We're going to put you in here a few hours now while you're here. And Dawn, isn't it nice to be back in Taipei again?
It's so great. It's so great to be here.
So thanks for stopping by. And they have a daughter who's an intern here. We have interns from all over the world. And we're glad she's going to be with us this summer. So, welcome back.
And I always enjoy learning many subjects through studying Studio Classroom.
You know, teaching advanced, you have to really look up a lot of things. It's like going to the university. I think the teachers work harder than the students. We have to find out more about it so we can share with you. Isn't that true, Ted?
And now we have to do it even more because everybody's got their tablet and phone and they can look everything up on Google.
That's it. You have to be very careful what you say.
Right.
But we're so glad. And we're also glad to have Albert with you. Albert, this is quite an interesting story. Do you like to travel much, Albert?
I do. Unfortunately, I've never been to Europe.
Well, next time you go there, you can see Ted and Dawn. Isn't that right?
That's right. You're always welcome.
Oh, thank you.
But don't say that to the whole audience because you might get a lot of people there.
I'll make sure to bring a copy of our magazine.
That's right. So you can find out all these special places.
Yeah.
People have done that. They've studied on Studio Classroom, and when they go someplace, they take that lesson with them.
Wow.
It's a good idea. So keep this one on hand. Okay. So today we are going to start on page 19, page 20. But just to do a quick review, we're in 19 still, aren't we? Okay. So what are we going to start with today? What subject? What country are we going to visit?
We're going to go to Italy.
Italy. And where did we go yesterday?
We went to Estonia and Austria.
Austria.
Yes.
Wow. And now we're going to go to Italy. A lot of people go to Italy, and they usually go to Rome or Florence. Florence is a very artistic city, but I don't know if any people go to this other place. Let's find out about it. Let's read the first paragraph on page 19. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. And you might want to read out loud with us. Let's go.
Three, Cinque Terre, Italy. A UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1997, Italy's Cinque Terre has a range of activities for everyone. Outdoor enthusiasts can opt to dive or snorkel in the marine park, and anyone chasing nature can watch the bird life in the Rio Maggiore's Torre Gariola. Neighboring Manarola is famous for producing Chacatra wine, and the third village, Vernazza, is known for its cobbled street and various laneways. Vernazza is also home to the crumbling Castello Doria and the Gothic Ligurian church, Chiesa di Santa Margherita d'Antiochia, which was built in 1318.
Well, congratulations, Carolyn, for reading that paragraph for us, because I think you need to have a whole lesson in Italian before you read that. Don't you think so?
I think so.
And you know, Italian names are not easy, and I find French names are also not easy, right?
French and Italian, German could be kind of difficult too.
They think English is bad, but this is hard, really. But, you know, we may not pronounce all these names just like the people do, but this is not a lesson in Italian, so forgive us if we don't say them right, because we don't really know Italian that well. But you could look at these words, and if you see the names on the post, you know you're in the right city, even if you can't pronounce it right.
That's right.
So we're going to this little place in Italy, and Italy has so many interesting places. There's so many of our friends have been there, but this place is that we're going to talk about today is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, what does that mean when something is a World Heritage Site?
Well, it's a place that is recorded as being of special cultural or physical importance.
Okay. We have these places that we try to preserve so that people will know what our background, what our heritage was. Isn't that right? They have them in every country, too, in every city.
Well, yeah, it's really important to have like memorials set up so people can remember and honor and also not forget about repeating mistakes in the future.
Well, yeah, places that you want to remember what the background was. They have different places like that in every country, right? And so this place in Italy, it has a range of activities for everyone. So we have to come down. We were up in the north yesterday, way up there near Finland. Now you got to go down to the bottom of your map that's on page 18 and go way down until you get down below Innsbruck, where we were before, and you get to Italy. Can you find it on there? And then you'll find this little place marked over there. And it's north of Rome, it looks like, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Okay, so it says that if you are an outdoor enthusiast, what kind of person would that be? Somebody likes to ride bikes? And
Someone
hike?
likes to ride bikes and hike, a rock climb like we talked about yesterday.
Okay. Then you can opt to do something. Opt just means you have the choice to do something. You can opt to do that. I choose to do this. You could dive or snorkel. That sounds good to me. It's really fun to go diving and snorkeling, and we've talked about it in the Caribbean and over in Malbo and the Philippines, and now we're talking about it in Italy. You can do that every place in the world where there's water.
Well, especially in here, you're along the Mediterranean, so there would be different kinds of marine life to see, maybe than what you'd see in the Philippines.
Well, and then I like the next phrase because it says anybody chasing nature. They talk about bird life. So I guess it'd be kind of hard to chase these birds because they fly away pretty easily. But what does it mean to chase nature? It means to follow it up or what?
To follow it, to learn more about it, to be someone who loves nature.
Right. A nature lover who likes to see how they live and what they do and their habitat and things.
Actually, I just learned about bird watching. Gordon, our teacher Gordon, his parents are avid bird watchers, and what they do is they camp out at the birds' nests at their home.
Oh, no.
So you don't have to really chase them. You just have to wait for them.
In England or every place?
Oh, actually, his parents came to visit in Taiwan, and they did bird watching in Taiwan.
Well, there's birds all over wherever you go. And it's interesting to watch them, isn't it?
It is. It is my Ted's aunt. She likes to do that in her own backyard. She'll get up very, very early in the morning, very early, and that's the best time. And she has special bird feeders, very special bird feeders, because she knows what's in the area, and she has those bird feeders in her backyard. She'll get up and she'll do some reading time, and then she'll just have her binoculars as well. And
birds are so beautiful.
Watch the birds.
If you look up birds and look at all the different colors, they're blue, red, yellow, and they're just all kinds of birds all over the world.
And my brother-in-law is very good at photographing eagles and other, rare birds.
Have them send me some pictures so I can put them in the magazine sometime. But I even like to watch, the birds when I'm even driving in Taipei, and you stop at a stoplight and you see all these posts and all these birds are sitting there, and one will go and push the other ones off. And I like to watch them even in the city, not just in the country. Birds are every place, So be aware of everything. Don't just have your cell phone on all the time and, watch for birds. It's fun. But that's one thing you can do there if you like bird watching. So you better tell your brother-in-law, or your uncle about that.
It's my brother-in-law, yeah.
Brother-in-law, you tell him about that. But they have this great thing. They have several places that you can go. So they have one place, of course, that's good for wine, and that's not surprising because Italian wine is known all over the world, and there are vineyards, and a lot of people go and visit that. That's quite well known, that part.
And in Austria, we have very good vineyards as well.
And in France, and California. I mean,
Yes.
but it's very famous in Italy, that's true. But then this place, the third village, what is it known for? It's cobbled street, Veronaz. What do you call that one? Veronaz. Okay, it's known for cobbled street. Now, a lot of countries have those still. London, Scotland. Well, in America has some old towns that has cobbled streets. What are they like?
Well, cobblestones are used to make cobble streets, and so
Where
these
cobblestones are just big stones, right?
And that would be, as opposed to today, we have concrete or asphalt,
Smooth
blacktop,
cement.
smooth cement.
Right, so cobble street is usually like it's uneven.
Uneven, right. Stones put together by cement.
Right, it has a very rustic, charming feeling to it. It's not particularly efficient, but it's really pretty to
Don't
look
try
at.
it with high-heeled shoes, ladies. The cobblestone streets, right?
Right. And when I hear cobblestone, of course, I think old. I just think old,
That's
and I
what you
think of
think about.
like horses and the sound of horse hooves on the cobble street, right?
And they have these various laneways where they have little things like, not really big roads, but little lanes. And they have those all over Italy. They have them in Japan, every place. These little narrow lanes, right?
I think because they grew up a long time ago, so they didn't have city
Cars,
planning
right.
and large
Right.
streets.
So if you want to see that, you could go there. But some people like to see some of these old churches that were built. I don't know how they ever built those churches way back then. They're so big and all those stones, and they didn't have machines. Don't you think that's amazing?
It is pretty amazing when you see them, when you go and look at them and you see what the people were able to accomplish. It's quite amazing.
Right, this talks about this crumbling one because it's probably so old that it's just not it is like it used to be. You know, the
Right.
old
It's falling apart.
falling apart. Right. This old Gothic style, which is a certain style, you can look up Gothic pictures and see what they look like. They were done what 15th century or something, 13th, 14th,
1300?
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right. You could go there, or you could see another place. And I'm not sure if I could say these Italian names. She said di Santa Margherita di well, let's just forget how you say it because that's a long name. But we're not learning Italian. But this was built back in 1318. That was before I was even born. It was a long time ago, wasn't it, Ted?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was. So if you want to look at some of these ancient things, it's nice. You know, our teacher, Vicky, was just in Italy recently, and she said a lot of these little towns, they're so friendly, and they take you in like you're part of the family, and she loved it. So you might want to visit some of these small towns in Italy. What do you think, Ted?
I'm sure that would be a good idea.
Yeah, it would be really refreshing from like the urban city that we have nowadays where like every street corner is a 7-Eleven or Starbucks, but
Right.
here they kept the character
Right.
of the town.
It's quite different.
Yeah.
So there's Italy and there's Estonia, but now let's look today at Croatia. Now, I noticed that a lot of people seem to be going to Croatia. A lot of tours, even from Taiwan, have gone to Croatia. I don't know why. Is it because it's by the sea or something like that?
Well, you have the coast opposite of Italy on the Mediterranean, but also it's relatively less expensive compared to, say, Germany or Austria.
So nowadays, so many tours are going there. So let's read about it. Now, let's take this next page where it talks about Croatia.
Number 4. Zadar, Croatia. Brimming with creative architecture and full of history, the city of Zadar in Croatia continues to captivate visitors year after year. The impressive sea organ, which extends 70 meters along the coast, is sure to hold anyone mesmerized. And the famous wide street, which is even older than the city itself, is a reminder of the Roman influence on the area. Riva, Zadar's seaside promenade, offers a peaceful setting to watch the majestic sunsets the city is famous for. Finally, the Museum of Ancient Glass exhibits a vast collection of Roman glassware from the commanding 19th century Cosmosendi Palace.
So Croatia, have you ever been there, Ted, or not?
I have. I've been to Zagreb, the capital, and Don's been there. We didn't travel there at the same time, but then we also got to go to Split, which is down the coast a little way from this particular city.
So Croatia, does it look kind of ancient and like it's on the Mediterranean? What does it look
Well,
like?
there are definitely some old buildings and old churches, old structures that you can see.
What kind of language do they speak in a country like that?
They speak Croatian.
Oh, of course,
I
the
think-
Croatian. They speak Croatian.
Right. Croatian and Serbian, I think, are very similar. it might just be a little bit of terminology that's different.
Well, it says it's got, creative architecture, so it's brimming with it, means it's full of it. There's so much different types of art. Did you notice anything different about the architecture?
Well, I loved it, and we were talking about cobblestone, cobble streets in Italy. The place we were, Split, had cobblestone streets as well.
I think a lot of places in Europe do.
Beautiful buildings and side by side buildings. Every building sharing a wall. And that's what was unique. And then, because it's on the coast, there's a lot of fishermen and things like that. And I just
people go swimming
found it quaint. Well, it seemed some of the areas are very rocky, but there are some beautiful, beautiful beaches as well.
Wow. Well, it's full of history and stuff. And it says that they captivate visitors. People are so excited. They go there because they say, I must go and see that place. When you're captivated by something, it has a very big drawing attraction to go there, doesn't it? So I guess a lot of people go there because it's on the coast. They like that part. And what else does it say about it that's interesting? Did you find anything interesting in that paragraph, Albert?
Yeah, like there's a promenade there. Whenever I hear the word promenade, I just instantly visualize cotton candy, seabirds, children laughing. A promenade is basically a path for walking on, especially when built next to the sea.
Well, it says it can hold you mesmerized. What does that mean?
Oh, to basically draw your attention and you would stay with it for a while.
Okay.
You're almost hypnotized by it.
So that it captivates you, and then you just have to keep looking at it.
Right.
Isn't this interesting, that kind of thing? And it says this famous wide street is even older than the city itself, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. It must have been an area, a street, that was passed through,
Right. When the Romans, they had their carts, they had their chariots and things, so they had a wide street, don't you think?
That's right.
Yes, we don't have any wide streets from Roman times in Austria, but we have an aqueduct that was built by the Romans.
Oh, wow.
And they did that in England and all the countries where Rome went, so they could have their chariots go down the street and so forth, yeah. Be kind of interesting, because Roman influence is in many places in Europe, isn't it?
That's right. That's right, it is.
Well, and it talks about the seaside promenade. So what is a promenade exactly then?
Well, it's this path along the sea.
Okay.
It's built up a path for walking.
And if you're there, it's very peaceful to see the beautiful, majestic sunsets. The city is famous for that. So if you like photography and you want to take pictures of sunsets, hey, that would be the place.
That's right. And I'm even imagining sitting there as a writer. If you like to write, you could just be inspired there.
That's true. Right. Watch the birds. I bet they have birds by the sea, too.
Probably.
Right. So that's kind of nice. And then they have something else, a special kind of museum. What kind of museum is that?
It says the Museum of Ancient Glass.
Ancient glass. So, there was a lot of different glass that they put in these old churches to make the windows and make it different. So I don't know what that would be like, but it was probably beautiful colors, you think?
I would imagine so, because you have a lot of stained glass windows in the old churches and cathedrals in Europe.
Right, and they made pictures of people and events out of glass, different colors.
Yeah.
So you might want to see that if you like that kind of museum. And it says, where can you see that from? It says from the commanding 19th century Cosmosindi Palace. So you can go to a palace. Must be very elegant. What do you think, Dawn?
Yeah, when I think of a palace, of course, I think of big, very big and majestic.
So that's kind of an interesting place, and a lot of tourists do stop by Croatia. They'll tell you other things you can see, but if they say Croatia, say, oh yeah, I read about that in advance, so you know about it, okay? But we got a couple more places to go. Now, a lot of people don't go to Norway. It seems a little far away. It's up in the north. But Norway has so many good places to see. And we're just going to talk about one place. So let's read this, number 5, Lofoten, Norway.
Number 5. Lofoten, Norway. Lofoten in Norway features white beaches to untouched fjords. Rare bird species, whales, and seals all inhabit the surrounding Arctic waters. and the area also provides a great spot to catch a glimpse of the northern lights. Within the city, there are local museums, galleries, and shops, and various cultural festivals are held during the warmer months.
Well, we have to jump on our map again, so look at page 18, and we've been down there where it's warm down there by the Caribbean and Italy, but you got to go all the way up north, past Sweden, over to Norway, and Norway has a lot of interesting places, but they're taking us clear up north to the top of the page almost where we see this place, Lofoten. And it's really up in the north, almost Arctic. Probably all kinds of, cold animals up there, but like the sea and the ocean. So it's a nice place. But if you don't want to go that far, there's a lot of places you could stop in Norway. We've been there several times. But what does this place feature that's so special about it?
White beaches. I'm imagining white beaches.
And untouched fjords.
Yeah.
Now, what is a fjord exactly?
Well, it's like a little finger area sticking out, and then the water is deep. The water makes these deep.
It's kind of like a cliff, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a cliff that goes, in from the ocean, and they call them fjords. That's the Norwegian word. You could just say it's a place where they have a great big tall kind of hill or mountain, but the water is way down at the bottom, right?
Right.
And Norway's famous for the fjords. And they have many fjords there. But this place says untouched fjords. And I would say there's not that many people in Norway. Most of those fjords are rather untouched. If you drive around Norway, like we have done sometimes with Heavenly Melody Singers, and you go and you drive and you don't see any people, and then all of a sudden you see some house clear up on halfway on the mountain. And I say, how do they get their groceries? Do they have any friends? I mean, it's way out there. So this is way farther north beyond that. So they're kind of isolated up there. You better like to be alone if you go up there.
I don't think the rock climbers have even gotten on those fjords.
No, I don't think they would like to do the fjords.
They're untouched.
Yeah. But it's beautiful, the whales and the seals and all they have. Mm-hmm. And Norway is very famous for the fjords. It would be worth taking a trip just to go to any of the fjords that are there. Mm-hmm. But if you want to go up far north, you could go to Lofoten. And they also can see the northern lights. They're quite well known. You can see all those beautiful colors. And there's galleries and shops and festivals, but they have festivals every place, And actually, they talk about the trolls. They're kind of like the fairies and all, and they have troll mountains. And if you look up a troll, it's a little kind of a creature that runs around. It's not a real person, but they talk about trolls in Norway. They got all kinds of fun things to do. But we don't have time to go into Norway anymore. We got to get back down here now to Macedonia. Let's read it.
Number 6. Ohrid, Macedonia. Combining glorious landscapes with cultural landmarks is World Heritage listed Ohrid in Macedonia, a city that boasts a pristine seaside that puts the crowded Mediterranean beaches to shame. The city overlooks the enormous Lake Ohrid, which is thought to be the oldest in Europe. The city itself contains various churches and a medieval castle, while the beautiful Galicica National Park is located nearby.
Well, it's time for Macedonia's, and we don't have much time left for Macedonia. But have you ever been there? Any of you? But you've been to Macedonia?
I've been to Albania, but never to Greece, but never to Macedonia.
Right, me too. What about you?
No, but I did meet an ambassador from Macedonia in Vienna.
Oh my goodness! Well, they get around too.
They do.
They call them Macedonians then, if they're from there.
That's right.
Is there anything special that this is also one of those World Heritage places? Why is it a World Heritage place? Do you think? What's so different about it? Yeah, what is different about that?
Well, they have a pristine seaside.
They have what?
A pristine seaside. So something that's pristine is new or almost new.
Pristine means, but it's just very pure and untouched and stuff. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Because some seaside areas now are so cluttered and they're full of people and you can't see the sand for the people. So that would be nice, wouldn't it, Dawn?
It would be, and so I can imagine that's why it's one little known place,
Right.
and so it hasn't been messed up by tourists really.
Every time you see pictures, of the Mediterranean beaches, they're full of people all the time. But if you look this one, it puts them to shame. That means they should be ashamed that they're so crowded, and this one is not. In other words, it's preferred to go to this one, don't you think?
That's right. This would be a better place. You don't need to worry about such a crowd of people.
And I don't know how they know which is the oldest place, but it says this one lake is thought to be the oldest in Europe. I don't know how you can find out. You can't ask the lake. It can't tell you. How do they know? How do they figure that out?
I would imagine they would have divers go down to the depths of the lake and probably
Check
pull
all-
some
right.
samples and date it.
Scientists,
Yeah.
they figure that out. But they think
Scientists.
it's pretty old.
Maybe books, maybe
Just the water.
background
Who knows?
about it.
Yeah, but it's pretty old. But what about the city itself? I know one thing is that, of course, it has these big churches, but a lot of cities have. But it has these big medieval castles. And, of course, Austria has a lot of those, too, and every place does. But they're kind of interesting to look at.
They are. They're just amazing. And walking through them, we were able to walk through a castle and just imagining what took place.
Can you imagine
and
living there? And then
how
they had
much
dungeons.
walking you had
Remember
to
they
do.
had dungeons where they put prisoners?
That's right. Yeah.
And they look kind of cold, and I don't think I'd
Damp.
like to live in one. It's nice to look at them, but I'm glad we can live in cozier homes now, aren't you, Pid?
I'm glad it's warm in winter and all that sort of
Right.
thing.
But the castles are fun to look at, and
They
people
are.
did live in those. And, of course, there's a beautiful park right nearby, and I don't know what it's called, Galicica or something. It's a national park nearby. And parks are nice because they show the character of the country, don't they? Right. Well, there's been a lot of interesting places here. Of all the places that we've talked about, which one would you be most tempted to go to, Albert?
I would want to say Estonia.
You want to go to Estonia?
Yeah, I want to go to the open air museum.
Okay, that's good. And you've been to a lot of these places, Ted. Which one do you think would be the most interesting for people to visit?
Well, I would suggest Croatia because I think it's a very beautiful country.
And there are some tourists from Asia now that go there, but I still think Norway's fun. If you can, go there sometime. It's very cold in the winter. What about you, Dawn?
Well, I think I definitely would like to go to Innsbruck. I won't be too far away from it, and I'd like to go there. I wouldn't mind getting to Italy, to Cinque Terre, and to check that place out as well.
There's a lot of places to go. So remember your window on the world. The world is a big place. Let's investigate it. And whenever you go there, you show them Asian hospitality, and they will show you European hospitality. But maybe we'll visit Ted and Dawn if we go over there to Austria. But thanks for being with us. Appreciate that.
It's been a pleasure.
And thank you, all of you, for traveling with us on our little-known European destinations. We'll be back with a different lesson tomorrow, so don't forget to be listening to Advance every day. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.